Hello, we are live streaming from the John Thomson exhibition. We are behind the scenes. I'm Yang-May Ooi, the exhibition video blogger. And what you'll see behind me is the guys putting in the installation. And you may hear some as they drill things into the wall and so on. So there's going to be disruption, there's going to be chaos, at least from my point of view, because I'm going to be running around with the live stream, trying to capture what's going on here at the John Thomson exhibition. I've got various things to do. There's only me, and I have no camera crew, no lighting. Oops, I've gone dark, so here I am. And I am going to be trying to do all kinds of things. So, for example, telling you we are live. No, we're back to front. Oh no, this is terrible. I'm going to see if I can change us and get us back the other way. Yes, here we go. That's better. We are live. John Thomson exhibition video blog. So as you can see, all kinds of chaos will be happening as I am... Oh no, there's noise. But never mind. Here we are at the John Thomson exhibition. So I am going to be showing you some of these pictures. And let's see. Here we have... I'm going to be pointing the camera at Paisarn Piammattawat, who's one of the team. He's going to be coming and talking to us about one of the a couple of the photographs later on. But just for now, let's just say hi.
Hi, everyone.
Everybody's a little bit camera shy, but no worries. Here we have Narisa, the co-curator, who's just got rid of somebody, her husband.
My husband, yes, he's too shy. He won't talk at all.
So Narisa, you're one of the co-curators, and you're going to take us on a little tour to explain how some of the hanging is going to work.
Yes. Yes, well, you come in here and there's going to be a wonderful graphic of a Thai orchestra, because we wanted to have something quite dramatic and very different for people to look at. And then here we start with, if you look across there, you can see the centrepiece of the exhibition is the two portraits, wonderful portraits of King Mongkut, King Rama IV. And actually, if you ever look on Wikipedia, these are the portraits you see, particularly the one with him in his crown. So then behind that we have royal ceremonies. And then on this side, round here...
Oh, hang on, you're going too fast. Hold on, I'm just trying to get this thing sorted. Yeah. Apologies. Here we go, start again.
Yes, and then in this little section here, we have... this is a sort of hanging that I'm very pleased with here, which is three portraits of men. A very young boy, about 15, someone who's a young man, and then a much older man who actually was a very close friend of King Mongkut.
Okay. Let's just move over here so that the camera can catch some of this a little bit more clearly. I've got the three of them here, and so if Narisa, you'd like to go and stand in front of the camera and tell us first about the young boy.
Yes. Well, you'll notice when you look at the exhibition that some of the portraits are full of objects which are indicators of rank, but I particularly like this portrait because it's very simple. He's just against the background, I think, of a Thai house. And I love the way that he just stares at the camera very intently, because you've got to remember that, you know, at that time the exposure was at least a minute. So to hold still and to get to a portrait of such intensity is amazing. And then next to him is a sort of man, probably about 20 or something like that. We think he's a palace guard because on the table there's the hat. And this is interesting because it's taken on the veranda outside the Emerald Buddha temple. So you get a lot of lovely details of the architecture, the Garudas holding nagas made in stucco and gilded, which are all still there today. The risers of the stairs have Chinese porcelain. And on the table there are the little objects showing that he's a person of some importance. Everyone had a water pot, a spittoon, because of course everyone chewed betel in those days too. So I don't know if that's why they don't smile, but probably because it's such a long exposure, but they would have had very black teeth. And then the end of this sort of series of three men is Mom Ratchawonggatai, and he is... I love him. He looks like a lot of fun. He looks very relaxed despite the long exposure. He's sitting there very sort of happy in himself, I think. He actually was with King Mongkut from when he was still a prince, and they studied English together, and he spoke excellent English. But I like his casual attire, the posture, crossing his legs, and he just looks a great guy. And he was actually sent by King Mongkut abroad to speak English because he spoke it so well.
Thank you very much, Narisa. That's really fantastic. So we've got these three chaps, and so will you also talk us through the two portraits of His Majesty King Mongkut? Oops.
Well, on the left we have him in his full coronation attire, wearing the great crown, which actually we have a replica in the room behind, so people will be able to see what it looked like. And here, this is obviously a very formal, imposing picture, and this was one of the pictures he used to send to other foreign dignitaries, monarchs. And he was very clever because he understood the power of photography. So you can see that he was quite happy. A lot of the Siamese people, when John Thomson arrived, didn't want to have their photos taken at all because they believed, like many people did at that time, that it might take some essence from the person being photographed. But he realised quite quickly that if you had a very imposing photograph and sent it round, I mean, you've got to remember at that time Siam was at risk of being colonised. During his reign, we'd already signed several treaties with foreign powers. And so it was important to show that Siam was a civilised country, had photography, had ceremonies. So I think John Thomson in a way was like a gift to him because he could ask him to take lots of photos, royal ceremonies, new architecture that he'd built. And so I think he was very clever in the way that he worked with him and gave John Thomson full access. And this is really the iconic photograph of King Mongkut. On the other side, this is also very interesting because here you see him wearing a naval outfit and the Legion d'honneur that
Sorry,
had been...
this is a live stream, so...
I think Lupt has talked about this, but the Legion d'honneur, which had been presented to him by Napoleon III. So again, he's showing to the world, really, because he knew that John Thomson would publish these photographs, that he is recipient of decorations from the French emperor, which is, pretty cool at that time. And you've got to remember that France actually was one of the countries that was pressing the hardest on Siam from the east. So I think this is very astute use of photography.
Great, thank you, Narisa. Now, you're going to show us some young people now.
Yes. So this portrait here is one of my favourites because I love the way that the little princess, for a long time people thought it was a boy, but it's a little girl. And it tells us such a lot about Thai society at the time. I mean, for a start, her maid or her nanny or whatever is crouching on the floor. So you can see the sort of divide between royals and ordinary people. And also you can see that the palace in which she lives is quite simple in a way. It's a traditional Thai house. Now, she's also interesting because her father was the prince that took John Thomson into the palace to meet King Mongkut. So this is a very important place for John Thomson. And I also like all the incidentals, the sort of Western-style vase, rather scrappily arranged, the little teapot, the spittoon, all the things that you see in portraits of royal personages, but also the jardinières, and the whole thing is just delightful, I think. And also, viewers should note that it's signed. A lot of these photographs that he took in Siam are signed. John Thomson, PHO, and then almost like an exclamation mark.
And so what does PHO stand for?
Photograph.
Ah, of course.
And then, of course, here, this is a wonderful portrait of Prince Chulalongkorn, as he was then, later to become King Rama V, King Chulalongkorn. And again, I find this a very moving picture because he looks quite wistful. I mean, this may, of course, be because he had to stand for such a long time. And interestingly, we can see the stand behind his feet, keeping him still. I love his hand on the table. I think he has beautiful hands. And the whole details of his costume are amazing. Again, the items of regalia, a silver box, a teapot, And you can see that he hasn't yet had his tonsure because he still has a top knot on his head, surrounded by a ring of jasmine. So the Chinese jardiniere, the Thai objects, it's all full of meaning and telling us a lot about how society was in that time, how the palace was decorated. And of course all these portraits that we see, all taken in the open air. That's important to remember because obviously the lighting and the exposure time was very long, and so even though the portraits of the king might look as if they're inside in a studio, they're not. They're all taken outside, and so John Thomson would have these props such as the carpet and things like that. He would take it from one scene to another, and you'll see the same carpet appearing in other photos.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Now I think I can let you slip away, unless there's something else that you'd like to share with us.
No, I think Paisarn should be around somewhere, shouldn't he?
Okay, yes.
Try and find him.
Yes, so I am going to see if I can get somebody else. Thank you to Angie MacDonald, who's come here watching and says, the portraits are fascinating. Can't wait to see the exhibition. Thank you, Angie. And I am now trying to fiddle around with my technology, and apologies for the wobbles. So here we are. That's coming along with me. And so behind me, you'll see all the different people who are working on the exhibition. You'll see the chaps with their ladders and so on. And I do apologize for the terrible noise of the drilling and so on. I hope you were able to hear Narisa. Right, now, Paisarn here, Paisarn Piammattawat is with us.
Hi again.
Right, I'm going to try and set up the camera because Paisarn is going to talk us through a different photo. I just need to turn the camera around. Let's see if that's worked. And it's a little bit fiddly, so I do apologise. Here we go, that's much better. Right, Paisarn, would you like to stand in front of the...
Yes.
This is an amazing photo, so Paisarn's going to talk us through it.
Yes. This probably John Thomson took on the way of his trip to the south with Dr. Dan Bradley, who is an American missionary at that time. So on the way he visits some temples, and he fascinating by these monks and we call it temple boys. In this picture, he took this is a high rank monk with the special design robe with special texture. This is a special made monk robe made from China, and he holding the bag, and then this Chinese boy holding a fan for him, and this is the Thai boy holding the manuscript, wrapping with the Thai textile, and then this boy also a Thai boy holding the teapot.
Now, the other interesting thing about this photo is the technology of the double negative, or whatever you call it. Can you just talk us through that?
Yes, this is the wide glass plate, and then I think he blocked one side with the cardboard, and then take one shot first, and then move around the people in the picture, and then open the cardboard and take one more and join together.
And there's a ghost man, isn't there, in this picture?
That's right. If you notice, this is a man in the European dress at that time, with a white trouser and a long sleeve shirt, holding a umbrella to block the light behind the people for him, a black umbrella.
But then he's disappeared. How does that work in terms of the technology? What did he do?
Maybe he on this shot he doesn't need that man again, you see.
So he blocked it on one side.
On one side.
And then he took the camera and he took another picture without the man.
Without the man.
Yeah. So
yes.
And then in fact, because of that, the same boy appears twice, doesn't he?
Yes.
Can you point us?
Some boy appears twice. you know, this Chinese boy is here, and then this Thai boy is here. See, and then this monk appear again here.
So it's kind of like, I don't know if you remember when you were doing school photos, you had the panorama, and some girls you run the other side. Yeah. Okay, great.
It's the same thing like
good.
That.
Thank you, Paisarn. Okay, so now I am going to switch the camera around again and see where there's Narisa was hiding there. This is the trouble with live, so. Here we are. Yes. Okay. So the reason it keeps swapping is that it keeps doing mirror view, which is not very handy. So now I am going to have a little wander around, and you'll see behind me the photographs that Narisa was talking about. And so here we are in the central hallway again, and we can see all the people working on this panorama. And I was hoping to get Paisarn to talk to us about it. Maybe we'll come back because it's a wonderful panorama of over Bangkok. But because the guys are there, they're slightly. Oh, nope, they're going away. So maybe I can grab Paisarn. Paisarn, can you come and talk about the Bangkok panorama? Yeah?
It's not hung up yet.
It's not hung up yet, but that's fine. We'll see if we can get it. Here we go. We'll turn it around, and I can't turn it around.
The middle one is missing.
Oh, the middle one is missing. Okay, never mind. We won't do that then. We'll do something else. Okay, no worries. So this is the thing when it's live, we have all kinds of things that are not quite happening, that are not quite right. So, okay, so I'm going to take us downstairs. So the exhibition is on 2 floors. The Siamese floor is on the 1st floor, and I'm now going down the stairs. I do apologise if I've been jiggling you about too much, because I've got to try and deal with the stand which keeps getting in the way. So we're going to go downstairs to the basement where we will see the Chinese exhibition, and I hope to be able to catch Betty Yao so that she can talk us through the Chinese exhibition. So now I am going to switch the view round, and hopefully we can then see the downstairs. Here we are, Chinese exhibition, and here we have Betty and her team. Hi, Betty.
Hi. Well, we're here at last, just waiting these to be installed.
So what are you doing with all your bits of paper?
Yeah, we're just selecting certain images that we're going to send off to the press and get things ready. But I can't wait till they're properly up on the wall.
So yeah, so they're just, you've laid them out in a particular order, and then they will be hung up.
There's a story to tell. So whether you walk left or right, it flows. And geographically it flows, and by subject it flows. And we separate the women. The women have their own space.
Oh, so the women are in the inner chamber.
Oh yes, it's in a special blue room for the women.
Okay, so because in terms of my research for the women who had bound feet, they always were sequestered in an inner chamber. So your exhibition reflects that.
Yes, it does very much, and also it shows some courtyard scenes, and women of a certain class, obviously, they don't go out gallivanting on the streets. So basically, they are sequestered, and it's very, very probably quite isolating kind of life, and we reflect that in the show.
Great, thank you. Now I'm going to have a little wander around and let you get on with it. Which way should I go, left or right?
Go left.
Go left. All right, thank you, Betty. Right, so no, left rather. So here we are. As we come in, I think as I showed you, this is the inner chamber for the women, and we will go into there in a moment. And I am actually going to swap the camera around again so that you get a chance to see me, and it's not just an empty room. Not that I'm an egotist or anything, but here we go. Let's swap that around, and here I am. Right, people, follow me, and we are going left, and let's see what we've got here. We are here behind me is the workshop where I've seen guys putting up the frames and drilling and all this sort of stuff. And then here, let's put that there, put it down here, and let's have a look. So behind me, you see the gallery extending on, and with all the pictures on the ground ready to be hung up. So far, not much drilling, and it's maybe because it's lunchtime and the guys have gone off for lunch. But let's have a carry on with our wander and see what we've got. And it's all laid out. I think it's going to be really fascinating. It's a little bit dark here, so I'm not going to stop too long. But let's have a look at this fine chap, whether you can see him. He is a Manchu official, and looks very imposing. And it's quite interesting because from my research in terms of women with bound feet, what I found is that the men all sit in this, sit in this very sort of masculine, they take up a lot of space, and you notice the way that he sits with his legs wide apart. And in contrast, women with bound feet, they were expected to be small and delicate, so they would be much more demure and dainty. So it's really interesting to actually see the photograph of this actually being the social norm. And here we are continuing on around the corridor. And so this downstairs space has these corridors round the inner chamber. So we will go into the inner chamber, which is there. It's a wall at the moment, but we will go into that. Now, this is we're coming up to one of the pictures that is really quite lovely. Can you see this? Yes, here we are. We wonder whether this is the first selfie. There is John Thomson there in the corner with his hat and his Victorian whiskers, getting into the frame of this photo. And in the culture of selfies that we have nowadays, let's stand out of the way. We have him there possibly with the first selfie. So I wonder, I'm going to ask Betty, but we're talking about whether we can invite our visitors to come and take selfies in front of not just this picture, but any of the photos that that might be your favorite. And of course, you can see it's a little bit dark. You can see me in shadow, but the main thing is you can see John Thomson. So that might be something that we might encourage people to do, because it's kind of a fun thing. And what is so amazing, I think, for me is seeing all these different people that John Thomson was able to take photos of. These people who are no longer around, but somehow they've been recorded by John Thomson, and it's just wonderful to have them. These ordinary people, merchants and so on, as well as kings and princes upstairs in the Thai section. Now let's. Actually, it's all a bit dark here. So I'm going to take us into the women's section of the inner chamber, and bump into Betty again. It's a bit dark, but let's see if I can show you some of the photos. This lovely little girl, I don't know if you can see it, it's probably a little bit dark. But I think maybe the main thing is that it's rather tantalizing that it's dark here in the women's chamber. And perhaps I hope that we can, through that, entice you to come and see the exhibition for yourself. The wonderful thing is that this exhibition is free. It's at the Brunei Gallery at SOAS, and it's It's by Russell Square Tube Station, or Holborn as well, or Euston, and it's you can find out more at the johnthompsonexhibition.org website. And let's try again to see whether we can show you one of the photos, and it's a bit wibbly wobbly because I'm carrying this around. I don't know if you can see this. It's probably a bit dark. It's a lovely Manchu lady having her hair done with a little girl beside her. Probably a bit too dark to see, so I am going to try and find somewhere which is a bit lighter, and in the background you can hear Betty and her team talking about the hanging and all the planning that they need to do. So I am going to finish off here, I think, and in a bit of light, and see if that works. So it's been a bit of an experiment for me, and hopefully it's not been too wibbly wobbly for you guys. Let's see if I can give you some information. We are going to try and have a live stream of the party, which is on the 12th of April from 6 p.m. Launch party live stream. Thursday, 12th of April from 6 p.m. Go to facebook.com John Thomson Lens, and I'm going to try and see if we can capture the mood of the launch party. The exhibition opens on the 13th of April to the public and runs through to the 23rd of June 2018. And I hope here's some information. Here we go. Through the lens of John Thomson exhibition, Brunei Gallery, SOAS, and it's free from the 13th of April through to the 23rd of June 2018. Find out more at johnthompsonexhibition.org, and Thomson is spelled Thomson, johnthompsonexhibition.org. Also, if you go to the website and click through to blog, you'll see a number of videos where I interview Betty Yao, and she talks about how she discovered John Thomson, and also there's an interview with Emmy-nominated Lupt Utama, who is a costume designer, and he talks us through some of the Thai portraits of His Majesty King Mongkut and His Highness Prince Chulalongkorn, looking at the symbolism that's in those photos that Narisa touched on just now. And also there's a trailer that you can watch, and there's all kinds of articles and information about John Thomson and this exhibition. So if you are able to come along, please do come along to the exhibition, and it opens next week, 13th of April. And if not, have a look on the website, and also you can buy a couple of books. One is the book of the China photographs, and the other one is of the Siam photographs. They are published by River Books. If you go to the River Books website or Amazon, or if you come to the exhibition, you can buy copies that will be a nice memento of your visit. So thank you very much for watching. Apologies for all the possible technical glitches, all the noise, and the wibbly wobbliness of the camera. So thank you very much, and don't forget, if you want to watch the launch party live stream, go to facebook.com/John Thomson Lens, 12th of April from 6 p.m. That's next Thursday evening, and to find out more about the exhibition, it's johnthompsonexhibition.org, and I'll be putting all those links in the comment section. And I'm Yang-May Ooi, the video blogger, and signing off now. Bye.